today. So next I'd like to call up Simon to discuss what's going on in the UK project. Simon.
Before I start testing, you'll hear me up and so on. Everyone hear me okay? Cool. Okay, so I'd like to give you a brief overview of the UK chapter as it currently stands, and that'll give you an idea of what we've done so far and what we plan to do in the future. So the UK chapter officially launched UK chapter website officially launched in August 2009, and since then it's gone from strength to strength. We initially started off with 3 main chapters in London, Bristol and Glasgow, and this quickly expanded to include Leeds, Birmingham, Manchester and Brighton. Sorry about that. In 2009 we had 2 big events in London which completely sold out. One was a lecture by Peter Joseph called Where Are We Now? And the other one was a double lecture by the biggest project when Jacques and Roxanne visited the UK. Both of these events had a big impact and really helped the UK chapter grow, especially the London chapter. And since then, the growth rates continue to increase, resulting in a lot of interest in the movement, especially in London. 2010 was a very interesting year for the movement, and we had many different events in the UK. ZDAY March last year was very successful with 12 events across the UK. There was a large event in Bristol which had 250 people attending, and the London event was sold out with about 400 people attending as well, and that helped start the UK lecture team. Since then, the UK lecture team has given many other lectures and talks at other events and discussion groups. We've also started giving presentations at schools, which we'll hear more about later on today. And we also had, as Ben mentioned, the biggest project taxi drive around London for a year, which attracted a lot of attention from the public. August last year was a very active month as Jacques and Roxanne visited the UK during the biggest project world lecture tour. 200 people attended the first lecture in Glasgow and 300 people attended the second lecture in Bristol. Both of these events proved to be very successful and people from all over the UK attended. In the same month we had our first annual UK chapter meeting in Bolton, which is a really good opportunity for all the active UK members to meet each other in person and collaborate on projects. We hope to have these meetings every year at different locations with presentations from each active chapter and workshops to teach members new skills so they can get involved. Many of the UK chapters have been doing regular information schools, so they've engaged with the public in that direction. The North West England chapter, who are here today, have been the most active with information schools, and they recently completed a successful tour of all the major towns and cities there. In London we do an information school every month, as well as a meeting every month and a documentary screening with a discussion. We have a lecture team for anyone that wants to do public speaking and lectures. A big product design team for architects, engineers, scientists, technicians and anyone with CAD experience to help with the technical designs and architectural projects. And we're in the process of starting a PR team as well. So the best way to get involved with your local chapter is to attend the meetings and participate in any activities and events which they have scheduled. The recent launch of Zeitgeist Movement Forward in the UK was very successful, and we had 19 screenings in total during the official 10-day launch period in January. There were some good turnouts, 110 people attending the Edinburgh screening, 110 at the Glasgow screening, 110 at the Chichester screening, 170 at Belfast screening, 210 at the Cardiff screenings, and 430 at the London screenings. And this helped many of the new chapters get more active, the new members eager to participate. The launch was a good indication of how active the UK chapter is, as well as the rest of the chapters across the globe. So I've been helping to set up and organise the UK chapters for about a year and a half now, and I've seen it grow from 3 initial chapters at the start, all the way up to 20 active town and city chapters today. It's been constant growth over the last year, which has now increased since the launch of the new film. We will continue to organise major events throughout the years ahead, giving presentations and lectures to very small audiences and groups across the UK. We have many events planned for the future, including a possible music festival in the summer in the West Midlands and our annual UK chapter meetings once a year. All of the upcoming meetings and events in London are listed on the Meetup group and on the events page of the UK chapter website as well. And we also have online UK meetings every Monday at 9 PM, where all of the UK chapters meet to keep updated, discuss important topics and organise future events. The next step is to focus more on workshops and training at future events, give members new relevant skills so they can participate more and help with the transition to a resource-based economy, which of course is our aim. So this could be anything from video editing, computer-aided design, hydroponics, permaculture, getting onto the grid, or any other skills that are relevant. We also have plans to set up Zeitgeist societies in multiple universities across the UK, including Plymouth and Leeds. So that's a really brief summary of the UK chapter, and I'll now hand over to Gilbert, who will give you more of an international perspective of the movement. Thank you.
It's an 11-hour flight, which is quite messed up if you're from Amsterdam. And on the ZDAY, it started to rain, which was a little bit of a disappointment because everybody came out and when they got into the room, everybody was soaked. So that wasn't very, well, accommodating, if you will. But today it's quite dry, so I'm happy about the weather. I like London. I've been touring around a bit. I've never been here before. I arrived on Friday and I like dancing, so I went out and had some salsa dancing with some London girls. Was good. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that today, so let's get down to business. First off, I'd like to thank the UK team, in particular London, of course. I've had the pleasure of meeting them yesterday because we had a screening. And I saw how good they work together. It's like that all around the world, but the London team is one of our most established chapters, if you will. Sorry, I sound a bit shaky because it's quite scary. But so forgive me for that. But yeah, the London team, they work together really well. I think it's a very good example. So I don't know, you can clap with me if you want, but I just want to thank the London team. So for those of you that missed it and think who the heck is this guy, my name is Gilbert. I coordinate the international chapters, which means that basically I'm a background guy. What I do is I make sure that every chapter around the globe is accommodated and make sure that they are able to do their activism correctly. We have international meetings, which occur online, obviously, because we can't all physically meet on a physical location. At these meetings, we discuss what we're going to do as a movement, what would be good ideas, what would be bad ideas, organizational processes that need to be cleared out. That's stuff that we all already do. I'm going to talk about it a bit later in a few more slides because there's this idea that this movement is not getting organized, which is total, never mind the word, but we're doing quite a lot to get organized. And I hope that today I'll be able to paint a picture so that you, as an activist, as a member, supporter, or just somebody who's interested in this movement, has an idea about how this movement is getting structured right now. Alright, let's see. I'm going to talk about the organization, the Zeitgeist Movement, like I just said. We're going to review some accomplishments and some goals that we've set for this year. I want to talk a bit about public relations and the media circus, because as we're growing, we're getting exposed to quite a lot of ridicule and a lot of other interesting articles. Samuel Gillonis, I don't know who read that one, but it was interesting to say the least. And I want to talk a bit about the faces of the movement. I don't know if I spelled that right. Is that all right? English is not my first language, so I'm just checking. All right. So when we talk about Zeitgeist Movement as an organization, we can divide what we have now into several parts. We have the chapters and the chapters administration. So that's what I call the chapters administration, who make sure that what is happening in these countries is regulated well, not in a restrictive manner, but purely informational, making sure the right information is being put out. Because we are an open movement, but to some degree, we do need to control the information that gets put out, because we have a specific idea that we represent. We want to make sure that it's the right one that gets out, and it doesn't get twisted in the wrong way, as unfortunately it does happen sometimes. Then we have the most important linguistic team. If we didn't have these people, the Zeitgeist Movement would be nothing. Why? Because there are so many different languages, so many different ways of interpreting words, and without these people, we would be nowhere. With the Zeitgeist Moving Forward release, they put in a tremendous amount of effort just to get everything translated within like 2 weeks. And then we have a developers team. It's not really a good concrete team yet, but we have people working on back-end stuff, which means if you're not a computer user, the stuff that needs to be coded into websites, into database systems, everything like that. And that's very important as well, because not everybody that we have in the movement right now knows how to do these things. I actually have people now in Kenya who want to start a chapter, but they don't have the resources or the knowledge right now to put up a website. And that's why we have such a team, so they can help these people set up a chapter in their area. So I'm very happy that we have those people too. We have the media project. I don't know if you're familiar with that. We're starting off right now with a media festival as well, so we can use all sorts of media in order to promote the movement and its direction. Let's see. We have the technology team, which is not a very complete team yet, but they're working on some projects. I don't know, is anybody here familiar with the website zeitnews.org? So this is basically a website, and it's their first project, which keeps track of all sorts of technological developments that are occurring worldwide in order to support what we're promoting, just to show that a lot is possible already. I don't know if anybody's familiar with IBM. They're doing surveys, Google with the car, all that stuff gets posted on that website as a global hub for information. And of course, we're all the communications team. We don't have a specific group of people that form the communications team, because we're all responsible for communicating this message to the outside. So that's you, the communications team. I also get asked quite a lot, like Gilbert, what should we do? We formed a chapter and now we're just going to sit on our ass and say, we are a Zeitgeist chapter. What can we do? Well, first of all, of course, it's most important that you come up with your own ideas. But I want to show you today how simple it can be to perform activism for the Zeitgeist Movement in a very, very peaceful way. I'm going to, not phrase, you know what I mean? I hope this works. There we go.
I don't know.
This is a map showing Z-Days recorded for chapters. There were more Z-Days, but recorded chapter Z-Days in 2009 and 2010, and you can see how that has grown. And then we move on. This one doesn't think, luckily. This is 2011. I got the image this morning, and this is the amount of events that we have worldwide. And you know what? I'm surprised, because with all the effort that we put in for the Zeitgeist Moving Forward release, I was expecting this map to be less crowded, but still we did an excellent job. I don't have the accurate count, but it's somewhere near 240 events, so I guess that's quite a decent number for just the small period we had in order to get this set up. Alright, so like I mentioned, last year I was in New York, and I told the crowd there I was happy because when I started being active for the movement, there were 7 chapters. And after just a short while, in March 2010, we had 250 chapters worldwide. I said then, like, well, next year we'll have the whole world. That was the original, I know. But I was happy, guys. We're gonna do this. But still, after a year of very hard work, I'm glad to say that we now have more than 1,000 chapters worldwide. Obviously, these aren't all national chapters. We don't even have that many countries, but we have different layers of chapter organization. So just so you understand where these chapters are located at, we have the continental level, which aren't actual chapters, but in reference to the chapters administration that I mentioned, this is the level of organization that we use in order to coordinate activism on a continental scale, such as Europe, America. Then we have the national chapters, obviously the country chapters, the UK chapter, which is hosting it right now. We have the state and provincial chapters, wherever that's needed. In places like America, the state is an important entity in organization. I forgot the words. I figured you get what I mean. Anyway, the state is more important there than it is here in the European countries. We have the cities, obviously, like the London chapter here, on the most local level, actually, that we can be active at. And that's also a layer of chapter organization. And as Simon mentioned, we also have college and university chapters getting set up in order to make sure we get people at these universities who are now in the process of, in a time in their life that they allow a lot of information to be considered. So that's also a very important one to consider for us as activists. Alright, some goals that we have lined up for this year. Absolutely, chapters in Africa and Asia. Let's pick it We've got quite a few interesting chapters lined up to get started up, some of which I never had dreamed of being able to see messages coming from. We have chapters in Bahrain starting up, like I mentioned, Kenya, Nigeria, places that are very limited in terms of internet access. So I think that is one of the goals for this year, making sure they get set up, we get more foothold in Asia, make sure our translation team is able to also provide them the materials so that they also can get a grasp of what a resource-based economy actually is. This is more for the people that are involved with the movement, cooperation with the other teams, making sure everything goes smooth. It's also on the list for the chapters this day. Improved internal communication, making sure information flow between chapters is going more fluently, and this will be tested, of course, once we get more projects executed like World Hunger Solved, which I presented last year. Obviously, and to my disappointment, we haven't been able to put it up yet, but hopefully this year we'll be able to. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about PR. I'm going to go a bit faster than I would have wanted to, so we can keep a good time span. Professional language. When we're advocating the movement, I spoke a bit in the beginning about coming on too strong to people. Terms like Venus Project, Zeitgeist Movement are probably not the best ones to use in a first conversation that you're having with somebody. Resource-based economy is, to a certain degree, but we have to make sure that we're considering the other person as well. Because when you talk to somebody and you say, I support the Venus Project, they don't have a fucking clue what you're talking about. They don't know. So it's probably something to consider referring to later. Get it started easy. Make sure you talk about the values that are associated with the society. Talk about what's wrong, what could be better. Also refer to things that are quite good right now. You don't have to be negative all the time. But make sure that you think about it before you start such a conversation, because you might come off way too strong, and we don't want that happening. It won't help us. You should understand it in your stupid role. That's also a very important one, because I talk to a lot of members due to my duties for the movement, and sometimes they come and ask me like, Gil, why don't they understand it? And they're stupid because they don't understand it. And it doesn't help us if you have such a disposition. Just be calm and make sure that you pass on the information that you want to pass on. And if they don't get it at that point in time, you've put the effort in. And that's it. Move on to the next person. There are 7 billion people on this planet. You probably could skip one. It's alright. We'll also encounter different types of publicity. Intended publicity. Like today. ZDAY, we try our best to communicate with a lot of media outlets. This is intended publicity because we intended it to be public. So, that's good. Well, we also have incidental and accidental publicity. I don't even know if that's a correct way of saying it, but I just made it up. Sometimes the stuff will happen, like the Jared Lochner incident. Anybody familiar with that? That was not so fun, but anyway, it will get related in negative ways without expecting it. And I hope everybody understands that this is just a natural progression of this movement. It'll just happen, and we'll just have to stay calm. And for those that don't understand what I mean by that incidental, accidental publicity, something like this. I tried to put it away. I don't know if it's legal in this country, but accidents happen. It does. We'll also encounter provocation, like we're being provoked. Is that a correct word, provocation? I'm doing better. Alright. Like these ones will get the communism, socialism arguments. Ad hominem attacks on a person, like you stupid Zeitard. That's a word. Zeitard. Well, let them Marxist group, that communist group, let it go. It'll pass in time. All right. I'm sorry about that sound. I'm hurting. All right. The faces. I hear members talking about this also. Yeah, and then we have phase 1 and phase 2. And the other day, a guy told me, you know, Gilbert, I'm not going to get active till phase 2. I'm going to wait phase 1 out. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm sorry if there's any small children. I'm sorry that this even came up, this phases thingy. It's not relevant. You know what's relevant for us? This, phase 1. Oh, it's not yet, it's working. Awareness. That's the task of the Zeitgeist Movement. Communication. Making sure we get the message out. We're not out there to build cities. This has been reiterated so many times. We're about communicating this message. The rest of the phase is irrelevant. Don't want to hear about it anymore. Alright, just to finish it up really quickly, I'd like to invite some people on the stage. Federico Pistono, our Italian coordinator. Talking as if I'm doing it by myself. Obviously I'm not. These are great people. They spend their time coordinating their countries. They're doing a lot of work. So, guys, could you really briefly just say how you've been experiencing activism in the movement so far? 30 seconds each. I'm going to rush you. Thank you.
Okay, try to be brief. Hello everybody, I'm Federico from Italy, and I started to coordinate about a year and a half ago the Italian chapter. It's been a great adventure, and it still is. And I just want to tell you one thing in my 30 seconds, which is you need to have fun. Okay, if you're not having fun, it's not worth saving the world. You have to enjoy it. Otherwise you can.
Hello, my name is Mato. I'm the European Chapters Coordinator. I also coordinate a chapter in my city in Slovakia. The name of the city is Nitra. And from my experience, the beginnings are always very hard when you're starting a chapter, starting like in coordination. So, and we're still young, so we have a lot to do on all levels, I guess. And unless a lot of people realize how hard they need to work, and shouldn't take things for granted, we won't see much change, I guess. So.
Hi, I'm Gilbert. I coordinate the Portugal chapter. Just want to say in my 30 seconds that it's very important to not only have fun, but actually accomplish stuff while having fun. Because that's really hard. People often forget to really organize things, but it's possible to have fun and organize, and something that we all should do. Because when we look back, we see that we accomplished great things like our progression so far. Thank you.
My name's Frankie, trying to coordinate German-speaking chapters. I'd like to welcome everybody here if you show up. It's good to see that this movement is not just an online phenomenon, so let's work together and get this into offline work. And there's a quote in Germany that says, much learning does not teach us understanding. And also Einstein said, every fool can know, but the point is to understand. So let's try to work on this more and more. we're on the process, we all took the red pill and everything. So let's try to achieve a world without poverty, politics, and war. And glad that you all made it.
Thank you very much. If you have any questions about chapters in the breaks, just hit me up. We'll talk about it. If you want to start a chapter in your local area, send me an email, Gilbert@thezeitgeistmovement.com. I'll let you know. If you want to dance outside, I'm outside. So, thank you very much.